I'd like to begin by thanking my honourable friend, the member for Newton Abbot, for securing today's important debate on GP funding in the South West and for his passionate speech. I'd like to use my time to shine a spotlight on a village in my constituency called Sherston, where the future of the local GP surgery hangs in the balance. I realise that Sherston may not be the centre of everybody's universe, as it is of mine, but it's in many ways a microcosm of the wider issues facing NHS-funded GPs in the rural parts of the South West. For years, residents in Sherston and the surrounding villages have lived with growing uncertainty about whether they'll continue to have access to primary care close to home. Here's the situation. The lease on the current building for Tolsey Surgery expires in 2027 and, for a range of reasons, can't be renewed. A local housing developer stepped in and offered to build a brand new surgery at no cost to the NHS in exchange for a modest increase in the number of homes in the proposed development. The community understandably overwhelmingly backed the plan. The only missing piece is a commitment from the Integrated Care Board to fund the running of the surgery. And this has been running and running. It's not just the local residents calling for action. The parish council, our county councillor, and I have all repeatedly urged the ICB to commit to supporting this facility, not just the bricks and mortar, but the long-term operation of a much-needed service. Yet, after months of dialogue, no clear answer has yet been given. The ICB relies on a toolkit to decide how to allocate resources. Early in our discussions, the ICB acknowledged that the toolkit was designed with urban settings in mind and is not well suited to rural areas. And yet they've continued to defer to it, as if unable or unwilling to apply common sense to a rural context. They argue that there is spare capacity at the Malmesbury Primary Care Centre, but anybody familiar with these places knows that that is simply not the case. Staff are stretched, appointment slots are limited, car parking slots even more limited, and patients are already struggling to get seen. Understandably, the people of Sherston are at their wits' end. So this isn't just about one surgery. It's about a broader failure to meet the healthcare needs of rural communities. Access to healthcare in rural areas is closely tied to transport. Sherston has no regular, reliable public transport to Malmesbury, which is 5 miles away. Many elderly residents no longer drive. For a sick or disabled person, who obviously have disproportionate needs of a GP, or a parent with young children, getting to a GP appointment in another town can be close to impossible. So once again, as in so many other contexts, we see how rural issues, transport, healthcare, infrastructure and resilience are treated in silos, when in reality they're deeply interwoven. And the system must start recognising that. So following the Health Secretary's announcement in May of new funding for GP surgeries, I wrote to his department to ask whether Sherston might benefit. Unfortunately, the reply was disappointing. I was told the surgery did not meet the criteria and has not been selected for this year's funding. Well, Sherston surgery doesn't have very many years left. This response reflects a deeper issue, a fundamental lack of understanding of rural life in our national decision-making. A site visit and a short attempt to navigate the journey from Sherston to Malmesbury by bus, or more likely the lack of a bus, would speak volumes. I understand that not every village can have its own GP surgery, but when a brand new purpose-built facility is being offered for free to replace a much-used existing practice, why would we say no? And it's not just Sherston. Across the South West, rural GP surgeries are being overlooked in NHS investment planning. If we're serious about levelling up healthcare access, this has to change. So I've launched a petition to save Sherston surgery, and I invite residents to sign it and share it. Once we've gathered sufficient support, I will present it here in Parliament to show the government just how strong the feeling is. I was impressed by my honourable friend's figures quoted from the Health Secretary that the cost of a GP visit is around £40 versus around £400 for an A&E visit. Failing to adequately fund rural GPs is a false economy. For economic reasons, as well as health reasons, rural communities should not be treated as an afterthought. Everybody, wherever they live, deserves compassionate, reliable, and above all, accessible healthcare. Thank you very much.
Vicky Slade.